Today, we're talking about lessons learned from the book Difficult Conversations and how you can utilize different techniques in having your own difficult conversations. Have you ever feared the conflict that comes with having a difficult conversation? Have you ever said anything that you didn't mean having a difficult conversation? There are a lot of ways to derail a difficult conversation, but hopefully this video will help you get through your next one. Difficult conversations and conflict in general for me has been a major weakness in my life, and it still is a weakness, but I'm getting better. And part of the reasons why I'm getting better is after reading this book, there are different techniques and a mindset you can adopt that will help you in approaching these conversations. And more than anything, what this book did for me is that it really mellowed me out in my approach to starting a difficult conversation. Because when you're about to have a really difficult conversation, you can really just you could psych yourself out really easily to the point where you don't have the conversation, or your blood pressure boils up to a later date, and then you start to just kind of lose your mind, and then you end up just exploding, and nothing ever good comes from that, all that bottled up anger that you have to release in a single instant. So what this book does is that it teaches you to change your mindset on how to think about a difficult conversation, and it really shifts it to a mindset of one that tries to help you focus to learn and to understand rather than to fight and argue and win. It also helped me to understand that some things are not worth fighting for. And what I mean by that is that we can sometimes think that things are more important than they really are. In conversation, our emotions sometimes get the best of us, and we can make things more emotional than they really need to be. If you realize things are getting too dramatic, try and level yourself off, step back, and figure out what really is important. Later, I'll talk about a way to do this that can be quite effective. One of the biggest lessons that this book tries to teach is that everybody has a story. If I'm in an argument with you or a friend, I have a story and you have a story. Our stories can be radically different from one another because they're all about how we interpret information. Two people can experience the same exact thing, but interpret it in different ways. One of the difficult parts of conversations the book tries to help with is understanding that you have a different story than the person you're talking to, and understanding one another's stories and perspectives is crucial to the success of the conversation. The importance of who you're talking to can't be understated. So try and understand the other person's story before you move on and do anything else. And think about it, if you don't understand the other person's story or point of view, what do you think your chances are of saying anything that will be meaningful to them? A lot of what this book offers are methods to keep conversations on track and productive. A lot of times we see an opening in an emotionally charged conversation to take a jab or say something sarcastic to the other person. And while that may feel good, it's not good for the long-term prospects of coming up with a solution to the conflict. And this goes back to the point I had in the beginning of how the book mellowed me out. It highlights aspects of different conversation and shows you what's important and what's not. If you know what the most important parts of a conversation are, you'll have a better understanding of how to keep the conversation on track toward a mutual understanding. And if you know how to identify the best ways to do that, you'll have more confidence in addressing conflict and having difficult conversations. And before we go on, if you're enjoying the content so far, please like this video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. And if you're excited for more content, smash that subscribe button. Now back to the action. And one of my favorite pieces of advice from the book, and something that really helps me, is that you do not have to respond to somebody immediately when you're in a conflict with them. In a world filled with so much immediacy, sometimes it's honestly best to just sit for a minute, think about what you're going to say before you say it. It's okay to tell someone that instead of talking about it right now, you want to take time to collect your thoughts and come back later to the conversation. That gives both parties time to settle down, kind of come to your senses, and let more rational thoughts filter through your mind. Now, I was talking before about how sometimes we can get too emotional in a conversation, and getting clear about what you want to say and what is important to you is really, really crucial. And this is a way to do that. It also shows that you care. Taking time to think about someone else's story and their perspective, it shows that you care, and it shows that you're not taking their side of things lightly. Take a few minutes to collect your thoughts and see what happens. I bet you'll have a better conversation than if you were to just randomly spew thoughts out of your head. Now, the one thing I didn't like is how redundant the book was at times. The author really hammers home the point that everybody has their own story in a difficult conversation, which I get. It's important, but I felt like a lot of the book was kind of reiterating that point. The book is about 235 pages with a 65-page Q&A at the end, and I thought that it probably could have been reduced down to 200 pages of content and then the 65-page Q&A at the end. Overall, the book helped me think of difficult conversations and conflict as a learning opportunity rather than a burden. And for the longest time, I hated conflict and I hated difficult conversations. And who likes them? I still don't like them, but now I do think of them as a learning opportunity. It's a time to figure out what the other person's thinking, what their needs are, and how they can blend with yours. And that mindset shift is everything. Again, it's just about mindset. If you can think of a difficult conversation as a learning opportunity to understand what that person is thinking and just listen to them, I guarantee you, your conversations will go differently. Everyone has a story or perception of how they see things, and 90% of the time, we do not have an accurate depiction of what they're seeing. So if we keep an open mind and actually try and learn what they're thinking and feeling, difficult conversations will be a lot less difficult. So difficult conversations, how to discuss what matters most. I don't know if you can see that. It's another shimmery cover. It can be found on Amazon for, I think, less than $14 the last time I checked. But, it offers real conversations, real examples from real people, and again, shows you how to shift your mindset toward conflict. If you struggle with conflict, it has some really good advice on how to approach it and maybe make it a little less intimidating for you. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.